Hey Deb, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, Heidi?
Doing well, thank you so much. Thank you for joining this call. You have been very successful in achieving your weight loss so far. You have lost 25 pounds and 5% body fat. I am so proud of you for how much you've done, and you've been so coachable. And today I just wanted to ask you a few questions so that you can share with other people so they can see that they can do it too. Um, I wanted to start just like understanding what you do for a living because I know that a lot of people use being busy as an excuse not to take care of themselves. So, what do you do for a living?
Sure. So professionally, I am a vice president of finance for an IT services firm. I work at home, but I do travel occasionally for work. I traveled a lot last year, a little bit less now, but for the most part, I am on conference calls back to back throughout the day. Sitting on Zoom calls like this from usually 7-ish in the morning until kind of end of business, 5:30, sometimes 6 o'clock. And then when I'm not doing that, I am a mom of my non-professional life. I'm a mom of two boys who are married, and I have an 11-year-old and an almost 9-year-old.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. And I want to understand where you were at before. So, where were you at before starting the coaching program?
Yeah, so I have a lifelong journey of weight gains and losses and successes in different ways. But honestly, the last several years, probably a combination of career busyness, parenting, as well as age, right? I think age plays a part in some of that, and your just body and hormones and dynamics changing. I've really been, and we all lived through COVID in 2020, so probably from the last 4 to 5 years, it's really been much more trying and not being able to get traction. Either sort of just indulging myself to say like I'll put myself on not intentionally putting yourself on the back burner, but doing that a little bit and not being conscious of it, or when I was trying, really not being able to get results. So I've been very successful in the past, but honestly, the last 5 years have been just unfortunately, a continual weight gain for me.
Thank you for sharing that. And then what have you learned for you? What have you learned with the coaching program? Maybe one or two things that you feel like it's really stuck with you.
Yep. So I think one of the best things for me is the accountability and support, right? Knowing that it is different when there is someone you have to talk to on a Friday and kind of walk through this with. Not that it is punitive in any way; it is a supportive way. But there is this natural accountability that comes with being part of a coaching program. And then I also think that mindset piece. I've done lots of different eating programs, right? Done them all. And so there's a simplicity when we first met, right? That your kind of guidance was eat like a caveman. And it really, if you told me I'm not allowed processed foods, I'd probably have a rebuffed reaction of like, I can't have these things. But this was much more simple, right? If a caveman could have found it, you could eat it. Okay. So it gives me that simple question for myself of,
Uh-huh.
and so trying to keep it simple. And a very honest and transparent thing you said in our first meeting was like, hey, some of this food isn't going to be exciting. You're going to find a few, it's not wow gee whiz. And I love to cook, right? And so you kind of took the pressure off to say, you're not going to necessarily have this gourmet meal every time. Find a couple of things you love and you rinse and repeat. And it sort of took the pressure off of honestly having to come up with a dinner every night that fit these parameters. And I've been really simplifying my thought process, not trying to over engineer meals and just finding things I enjoy eating so that it doesn't feel, so laborious.
Uh-huh.
And not feeling weird about just eating some of the similar things over and over, as long as I enjoy them and they fit those parameters. It's that, and I think that simplification has been helpful.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. And that might be something similar to my previous question, but maybe like what were the biggest changes with that mindset that happened for you during the coaching program?
Yep. So I think so similarly that I honestly, even though I was gaining weight consistently, I don't think my diet was overarchingly poor, right? We eat lots of fruits and vegetables. I think I for sure, as much as I predominantly would say protein and a vegetable would have been my primary, there were certainly far more carbs, even healthy carbs, but a volume of that. And I'm not saying that you're anti-carb, I didn't mean it that way, but probably the plate proportion was off, as well as my there's a part of at the end of a work week you just want to go out to dinner the weekends, right? I would lose more track on the weekends as though I had earned it in some way. And so any progress I had made Monday through Thursday, I would unwind Friday through Sunday and then start back in the same place on a Monday, feeling like I couldn't get traction. So I think not not seeing, the weekend as an off time, but that this is just what it is. And I will find ways to fit this caveman eating into a restaurant. I will find ways. I'm not going to change and allow excess to undermine the progress that I'm making. And also just deciding. Sometimes honestly, part of this was just I'm deciding that enough is enough. And when I started seeing progress, it is very quickly, it does certainly make it easier to stay on that decision as opposed to flounder like, oh no, this is worth it. It's driving results I haven't seen in years.
Oh, I love it. I love it. What do you think was like the number one? I know I mentioned a couple, but what was the number one mindset shift for you?
I think so. There's the end of the day for me. It is that, and I don't. I'll be careful how I say this. It doesn't matter what it was. It's the end of the day. I deserve now to relax. I've done everything for everybody else. I'm going to sit on the couch and have a glass of wine and unwind and watch TV and stay up a little bit too late because I'm going to suck back in a little bit of me time after having given to work, given to my family. And I think deciding that it's actually sleep is what I need the most, and sort of shifting my evening routine then allows my morning routine to shift. I'm not a morning person, so it's a shift. But kind of course correcting that I'm not doing something that is taking away my time. I'm actually giving myself time to really rest and relax. That what I was doing that in the, doom scrolling and having a glass of wine isn't really causing relaxation, right? And allowing myself to truly rest and sleep and be fatigued and just let myself go to bed has probably been a big benefit.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, sleep is a beautiful thing. That's why they call it. And then there's one question I was actually very excited to ask you, because people ask me this all the time, and this is something that I feel like you really mastered. How do you find time to fit your workouts and maybe somewhat prepping your food into a jam-packed schedule? Like, how do you do it?
Yep. So again, some of it is just a decision. I am not a morning person. I could call my husband in here, he would tell you right away that is not mine. But it is really the only time that I am certain that I can get this thing in. And so we could talk about prioritization, but it really is brass tacks deciding that that's worth it rather than hitting snooze. I have relatively early meetings, and so and also recognizing I'm still who I am. So you and I've talked about, there is one morning week I will force myself to wake up at 4:45 to allow myself time to work out and be able to kind of recover from the workout, then take a shower and get my kids up and then be prepared to come and sit at my office. But I'm not going to force myself to do that 5 days a week because that's not sustainable.
Right.
But I still have to do it at least one day a week to get them in. So I think it is finding those pockets, even if it goes against your grain, because I have to change, right? So something has to change if I'm going to change. So, and then also say, I'm not trying to expect myself to be somebody that I'm not. I'm not going to do 4:45 5 days a week. It's just not who I am. And I don't want to. So I want to still be me. I still need I like to hit the snooze button. I want to stay in bed a little bit. But I think that has been deciding that the workout has to happen when it has to happen, looking at my schedule proactively early in the week. What mornings do I have 7 a.m.s? Okay, a walk is easier than a lifting day that day. Can I fit that in? My kids they play football right now. And so one of the things I was doing to get walks in, instead of my husband would drive them down to the field and I would walk down to the field. It's not that far, but instead of driving in the car, I'd get there 10 minutes after they're still warming up. And I got a 30-minute walk in. And so finding these pockets that existed, but not naturally, and just twisting them a little bit to accommodate my goals has been a help.
I love that. I love how you're managing your schedule so well. And I know, like, if there is one person who can say I'm very busy, that will be you. And I love that you're like a no excuse kind of person. So which is why you lost like 25 pounds in like less than 12 weeks. So that's amazing. So, and then my next question is, if someone was on the fence about receiving coaching, like, what would you say to them?
So I'll just use my own experience. I think I reached out to you in January and I didn't pull the trigger, right? I decided, oh, I've got this. I'm just going to buckle down. I'll take care of it. Even though I think I know myself well enough that I know accountability and programmatic things are better for me. I reached out in January. I think you and I met, and I just didn't pull the trigger. And between January and March, it was the exact same situation. Nothing fundamentally changed. And so sometimes just having a person that is in your corner, that is giving you guidance. And again, I've had a weight loss and journey. I don't feel, I think I know things about nutrition. It wasn't like I was starting from scratch, but just having somebody tweak it and also keep it into the perspective every week and be engaging with you on this topic, not putting that on my husband, not putting that on anybody else. This is what you and I talk about. It is having a specialist in that area. I have a tax specialist when I do my taxes. Like you have people that you go, what if I need a doctor, I go to my doctor, right? That's what you fill in that support as well as knowledge, right? I've learned things, but I wasn't starting from scratch, but the refinement, the tweaking, helping me think actively about it throughout the week. And so when I finally said enough's enough, I gave myself till March and I didn't do anything. And between March and now, it has been a complete reversal, just being focused and having somebody championing that in my day. It is so easy to fall off that list, and having somebody that you're accountable for and talking about it with keeps it in the forefront of what you're doing. And I think that's been the difference for me. So I was on the fence and I wasn't successful. I got off the fence and I was. I think that's the net.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Is there anything else they'd like to share that we didn't cover?
You know what? I really appreciate your approach, right? It is simple. It's not a complicated, and I will say, right, none of this is easy. It is busy and it is a choice, and it is easier not to do, but not really, right? So I forgot how good I feel when I'm feeling fit. And until you get some traction in that first week or two of just doing it, I very much remember looking at the eating plan and thinking, oh, this is too rigid. This is too rigid. Like, I mean, it was, and it, okay, but like 4 days in, I feel great. And okay, I found things I can eat, and that's not hard. None of this is hard. Okay, I can do that. Just doing it and getting started again, especially if you are starting again. I have started again a lot of times, and that can be really, I can't believe I have to do this again. I've done this already. You know what? You are where you are. I was where I was for all the reasons I got there. I just needed to start again. And then you get momentum. And it really is a great thing. So I think just either start or start again, and having the support system that you created through the program and the eating and just the encouragement and the app and all of the things, it's a tremendous value.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.